Jana Morris stood at the viewport of her quarters, gazing out at the swirling cosmos that framed the Galactic Council's massive space station. The stars looked calm and serene, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in her mind. "You really think you'll get away with poking around in Council archives?" The voice came from her communicator, crackly but distinct. It was Malik, a fellow diplomat from a species known for their photographic memories and skepticism. Jana turned away from the window, her expression resolute. "I have to, Malik. There's something off about this whole kill switch business. Every species integrated into the Council has one, but no one talks about its origin or its necessity." Malik sighed, his voice heavy with concern. "Just be careful, Jana. The Council doesn't take kindly to those who question their methods." "I know," Jana replied, disconnecting the call. She sat down, her fingers hovering over her data pad, ready to delve into the restricted archives she had managed to access using her diplomatic clearance. As she navigated through the encrypted files, Jana uncovered a trove of classified information. It revealed the origin of the kill switch, initially a voluntary safeguard during a galactic crisis, now a permanent measure of control. Jana's eyes widened as she read about failed rebellions and silenced dissenters, histories erased from public knowledge. Her heart raced as she downloaded the files onto her datapad. She was about to log out when an alert flashed on her screen. Someone had detected her intrusion. Without a second thought, Jana grabbed her datapad and rushed out of her room, heading towards the meeting halls where she hoped to blend in with the crowd. As she navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the station, she bumped into Threx, a towering insectoid diplomat with whom she had shared many debates. "Jana, you seem in a hurry." Threx clicked, his mandibles twitching in what she had learned to recognize as a gesture of curiosity. "I've found something sensitive. Information about the kill switch that needs to be shared, but I need help, Threx." Threx paused, glancing around before leaning closer. "You know the risks of what you're suggesting, Jana. The Council could deactivate your clearance, or worse, your life." "I know," Jana whispered. "But if we stand together, we can bring this to light. We can show the galaxy the truth." Threx considered her words, his antennae flickering rapidly. Finally, he nodded. "I will help you, human. Your cause is just, and your spirit is fierce. What do you need? Meet me at the central hub in 1 hour. Bring anyone you trust. We'll need all the support we can get to expose this," Jana instructed, her determination stealing her resolve. Threx agreed and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Jana to continue her cautious trek to the hub. Along the way, she sent encrypted messages to a few other diplomats she trusted, each from different species, each with their reasons for disliking the Council's stranglehold. As the hour approached, Jana positioned herself near the grand podium of the central hub, a place where important announcements were made. One by one, her newfound allies joined her, a motley crew of beings united by a common cause. The hub filled with hundreds of species, buzzing with the daily grind of galactic diplomacy. Jana stepped onto the podium, her heart pounding in her chest. She tapped into the station's broadcast system, her legal access granting her one chance to speak to the entire galaxy. "Fellow beings of the Galactic Council," Jana began, her voice echoing throughout the hub and across countless star systems via the live feed. "I stand before you, not just as a human, but as a being who believes in freedom and truth." She continued, revealing the origins of the kill switch, the manipulations and lies spun by the Council to maintain control. She spoke of erased rebellions and hidden truths, her words carried by the live feed to every corner of the galaxy. The crowd in the hub murmured, shock and realization dawning on faces and exoskeletons alike. Jana's allies spread out, sharing the data from her datapad, showing undeniable proof of her claims. As Jana concluded her speech, calling for a reevaluation of the kill switch and a return to voluntary governance, security forces stormed the podium. But before they could reach her, Threx and his compatriots formed a barrier, their bodies a shield against the oncoming guards. The broadcast cut out abruptly, but it was too late. The message had spread too far and wide to be contained. Across the galaxy, discussions ignited, debates flared, and for the first time in centuries, the members of the Galactic Council questioned their leaders. Back in the hub, as the security forces detained her, Jana smiled. The seeds of change had been sown, and though she faced an uncertain fate, her mission had succeeded. She had ignited a spark of rebellion, a call for freedom that resonated across the stars. In that moment, Jana Morris was not just a human, she was a beacon of hope for the galaxy. Jana slipped through the corridors of the Galactic Council station, her steps silent against the metallic floors, her heart racing as she clutched the stolen data. The crowded halls were a mix of various species, each member oblivious to the storm that was about to break. Jana's communicator buzzed quietly. It was Malik again, his voice tense. "Jana, are you safe? The security teams are on high alert. I'm almost to the hub. Malik, this information, it's explosive. It could change everything. Just make it here without getting caught. We need that data." As Jana approached the central hub, her path converged with Threx and a few other allies they had enlisted. Their diverse forms, a motley coalition of scales, feathers, and flesh, made them stand out, yet their shared resolve was palpable. "Everyone's here," Threx whispered. "Are we ready for this?" Jana nodded, taking a deep breath. "Once we start, there's no turning back." They moved into the bustling hub, where hundreds of representatives mingled, negotiated, and shared news from their corners of the galaxy. Jana positioned herself near a terminal, her fingers flying over the interface as she prepared the broadcast. "Here goes nothing," she murmured and activated the station's emergency broadcast system. Instantly, screens throughout the hub flickered to life, displaying Jana's face. "Fellow members of the Galactic Council," Jana began, her voice steady despite the tremor of adrenaline. "I stand before you today not to disrupt peace but to unveil a truth concealed within our ranks." The crowd stilled, attention riveted on the screens. "For centuries, we've accepted the Council's kill switch as a necessary control, a safety measure for our diverse community. But today, I bring evidence that this system was never meant to be permanent." She glanced at Threx, who handed her a data pad. Jana held it up, displaying pages of decrypted documents, graphs, and testimonies. These documents, directly from the Council's classified archives, reveal that the kill switch was a temporary solution during the crisis of the Dark Spiral War. It was meant to be dismantled once peace was restored. Instead, it became a tool of suppression, its permanence never voted on, never agreed upon by us, the members it governs. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Jana's words were a catalyst, stirring confusion and anger. "The leadership has maintained this control without our consent, manipulating the narrative to justify their grip on power. We, the members of this council, have been unwittingly complicit in our own subjugation." A high-ranking official from the council's security team stepped forward, his voice booming over a portable speaker. "Jana Morris, you are in violation of multiple protocols, including unauthorized access to classified information. Stand down and surrender." Jana met his gaze, her resolve hardening. "I will not stand down. Not when the freedom of every species in this galaxy is at stake." The official signaled, and security personnel began pushing through the crowd toward the podium. "Look at these records! See the truth for yourselves!" Jana shouted, broadcasting the documents for all to see. "Ask yourselves, did you ever agree to this? Did anyone ever ask for your consent?" Threx and the others stood beside her, forming a barrier as more representatives joined them, a united front forming against the encroaching guards. "We demand a public review of the kill switch protocols. We demand transparency and a return to the principles this council was founded on." Jana continued, her voice echoing across the hub. The crowd's unrest grew, chants starting among the assembled species, their voices uniting in a cacophony of dissent. "Review the switch! Freedom to choose!" The security team halted, uncertain, as the crowd swelled, their collective outrage turning into a tangible force. Malik's voice came through on the communicator, now public for the crowd to hear. "We stand with Jana. We stand for truth. Let us vote. Let us decide." The official backed down, his voice lost in the rising tide of calls for change. He signaled his team to retreat. Jana's broadcast cut through the chaos, clear and compelling. This is not just about a kill switch. This is about our rights, our freedoms, and our future. Let us come together and decide what kind of galaxy we want to live in. One ruled by fear and control, or one where every species has a voice? As the chants grew louder, the Council's leaders convened an emergency session, the pressure from the galactic community too great to ignore. Jana stepped down from the podium, her allies surrounding her, their faces mixed with awe and admiration. They had ignited a movement, one that might just reshape the galaxy. Whatever comes next, we face it together, Jana said to her group, their nods reaffirming their bond. Today, we reminded the Council that power lies not above, but among the stars. As the crowd dispersed, conversations abuzz with possibilities and plans for reform, Jana knew this was only the beginning. The real work, repairing a galaxy built on outdated fears, was yet to come, but for the first time in a long time, hope was more than just a distant star. It was within reach. Jana, surrounded by her diverse allies, gathered in a secluded meeting room aboard the Galactic Council's station. The tension in the room was palpable. Each participant was acutely aware of the stakes. Threx, his carapace shimmering slightly under the room's dim lights, broke the silence. "We have sparked curiosity and doubt among the Council members," Threx said, his voice clicking in urgency. "But we need a robust plan to ensure that our call for freedom is not just heard but acted upon." Jana nodded, tapping on her datapad to bring up a galaxy-wide network map. "Here's what we know. The Council is likely to initiate a counter-strategy, possibly framing us as instigators of chaos. We need to be 2 steps ahead," Malik interjected. "They might also attempt to shut down communications planet-wide to suppress the broadcast." "That's where you come in, Malik," Jana said. "We need to establish a secure, untraceable network. Can you handle that?" Malik's eyes narrowed, his determination evident. "I'll coordinate with tech specialists from multiple sectors. We'll create a mesh network. It will be operational within hours." A rustle of approval moved through the room. Jana turned to Lyria, a representative from a water-based planet, whose people were renowned for their encryption skills. "Lyria, we'll need your people's expertise to protect our network. Think you can secure the encryption?" Lyria nodded, her voice fluid and calm. "We'll encrypt it with a dynamic key algorithm. Even the best Council tech won't break it overnight." Jana smiled, bolstered by her team's confidence. "Good. Meanwhile, Threx and I will work on rallying more supporters. The more species that stand with us, the harder we'll be to silence." The group split up, each member tasked with a critical part of the plan. Jana and Threx headed to the central atrium, where representatives from hundreds of species mingled. Jana approached the podium, a risky but necessary move to gather more support. "Fellow representatives," Jana began, her voice amplified to cut through the chatter. "You've seen the evidence we presented. You know the truth about the kill switch. This is not just about humans or any single species. This is about all of us, about our fundamental rights." The crowd's murmuring grew louder, a mix of support and skepticism. Jana continued, "We are organizing a collective response. We're not asking you to fight, but to demand transparency and fairness. Who here will stand with us?" One by one, representatives from different sectors stepped forward, their presence a silent vow of support. With each new ally, Jana's hopes surged. Back in the secure meeting room, Malik updated the group. "The network is live. We're set on our end. It's fully operational and secure." Lyria chimed in. "Encryption is active. They won't be able to take us down easily." Jana looked around at the assembled faces, a tapestry of the galaxy's diversity. "Tonight we broadcast our message. Not just on the Council station but across every member planet. We show them that we are not their subjects but their equals." As the final preparations were made, tension turned to anticipation. Screens throughout the galaxy flickered to life, each displaying Jana's determined face. "Beings of the galaxy," Jana's voice echoed across countless worlds. Tonight, we stand united, not under one rule but as a collective of species each deserving of respect and autonomy. We ask you, as your representatives, to stand with us. Demand the end of the kill switch. Demand your rights to choose. Her words, powerful and clear, resonated across the galaxy. Images of different species, different worlds, flashed behind her, each showing scenes of unity and support. The message was clear. This was a galaxy-wide movement, not isolated dissent. As Jana concluded her broadcast, she turned to her allies, a slight smile playing on her lips. Now we wait. We've done what we set out to do. It's up to the galaxy now. The response was immediate and overwhelming. From the outer sectors to the core worlds, species took to their councils, their forums, demanding change. The Galactic Council, faced with unprecedented public pressure, called an emergency session. In the dim light of the meeting room, Jana and her allies watched the session on a live feed. The head of the council, a being of great age and experience, addressed the assembly. The voice of the galaxy has been heard, the leader announced, his tone resigned but firm. We will convene a committee to review the kill switch protocol. Effective immediately, its enforcement will be suspended until further notice. Cheers erupted in the meeting room, a sound mirrored across the galaxy. Jana felt a weight lift from her shoulders, her mission accomplished, but she knew this was just the beginning. Thank you, everyone, Jana said to her team, her voice thick with emotion. Today, we didn't just challenge a policy, we challenged a mindset. And we won. As the group celebrated, they knew the road ahead would be filled with negotiations and reforms. But for the first time in a long time, the galaxy felt a little freer, a little fairer. Jana looked out the window at the stars, their light no longer just a backdrop for power plays and control. They were beacons of hope, of freedom, a reminder that even in the vast, dark expanse of space, light could find a way. And tonight it had. The atmosphere in the Galactic Council chamber was charged with a palpable sense of urgency as Jana Morris took the podium. The council members, a diverse collection of species from across the galaxy, watched her with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. The emergency session had been called in response to the revelations Jana had broadcast galaxy-wide, and now, she was here to speak on behalf of those demanding change. Esteemed members of the council, Jana began, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. We stand at a pivotal moment in our shared history. The information we brought to light about the kill switch has sparked a galaxy-wide dialogue about governance, freedom, and the role of control in our society. She paused, letting her words resonate. Around her, holographic displays showed scenes from various worlds, where spontaneous gatherings had sprung up, people voicing their support for Jana's message. We are here not to overthrow, but to reclaim. Reclaim the trust and autonomy that has been eroded over generations by a system that was supposed to protect us, not imprison us. A senior council member from a highly influential planet rose to speak, his tone condescending. Jana Morris, while your concerns are noted, you must understand the chaos you could unleash. The kill switch was implemented for the safety and stability of all species under the Council's guidance. Jana met his gaze, unflinching. With all due respect, stability built on fear and control is a facade. True stability comes from mutual respect and understanding. Have we become so fearful of dissent that we must control the very will of our people? Murmurs filled the chamber, some of agreement, others of discomfort at the challenging questions Jana posed. Consider this, Jana continued. What have we become if we do not trust our own people with the freedom to choose? What are we governing but a facade of unity? Another member, a representative of a warrior species known for their strategic minds, stood up. If we remove the kill switch, what guarantees do we have that chaos will not ensue? How do we manage the risks inherent in such freedom? Jana nodded, acknowledging the valid concern. We manage it by investing in our communities, by educating, by dialoguing, not by dominating. We can establish a system of checks and balances that does not rely on controlling fundamental freedoms. The debate grew heated, members standing to voice their concerns or support, the chamber a whirlwind of activity. Jana's allies, dispersed throughout the crowd, echoed her points, amplifying the call for change. As the session drew on, it became clear that a significant portion of the council was swayed by Janna's arguments. The leader of the council, a venerable figure who had initially been skeptical, called for order. It is clear that this issue requires deep consideration. However, the immediate concern is the trust and unity of our galaxy. We propose a temporary suspension of the kill switch enforcement until a full review can be conducted. All species will have a voice in this matter. This is a decision for the entire galaxy, not just its leaders. Janna's heart soared as she listened to the proposal. It wasn't a complete victory, but it was a monumental step forward. Thank you, she addressed the assembly. This is all we ask, a chance to prove that trust can be a stronger foundation than fear. As the members voted, the result was overwhelmingly in favor of the suspension. Cheers erupted both inside the chamber and across the galaxy. The session ended with the council agreeing to set up a committee, including representatives from each species, to review governance policies and the future of the kill switch. After the session, Janna and her team gathered, their faces weary but filled with joy. They had done it. They had started a real change. We've started something incredible today, Janna told her group. But the work isn't over. We need to be involved in the review process, ensure that the voices of all species are heard. Malik smiled, clapping her on the shoulder. We couldn't have done this without you, Janna. You've shown us all what's possible when someone dares to stand up. As the team dispersed, Janna stayed behind, looking out over the now empty chamber. The battle was far from over, but they had achieved a significant victory today. She knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she also knew they were not insurmountable. She thought of the diverse beings who had supported their cause, of the unity they had displayed despite their differences. This was the beginning of a new era, one where fear and control would no longer define their destinies. The galaxy was ready for change, and she was ready to lead it. Janna turned away from the chamber, her resolve stronger than ever. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was ready to face them, backed by a galaxy that had chosen to trust her. This was their moment, their opportunity to redefine what it meant to be a part of the Galactic Council. And she would make sure it counted.